In this music theory lesson, I'm going to explain what is meant by major, minor, Sus2, and Sus4 chords. Because when you see all of them together, it kind of helps to understand all four of those types of chords. And all of them are very useful, especially in major, minor, of course, but Sus2 and Sus4 come up a lot when you're learning guitar. So first I'm going to draw like the nut right here. Just imagine this is the nut of the guitar. So this is going to be open position. First fret, second fret, third fret. So I think the easiest chord shape to start to understand these with is the D chord, and D sus2 and D sus4 show up a lot. So again, the chords I'm going to cover are D major, and I put square brackets around chords, G minor, D sus2, which sus stands for suspended, so D sus2. Piano players don't use that terminology, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure what they would call it, but they don't know about sus chords unless they play guitar. D sus4. So these are the four chords I'm going to talk about. So in the first lesson, I was just talking about what a root note was. So real quick, first thing I'm going to do is draw in the scale tones for a D chord. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to write the notes. So here's D, the D string. I'm going to start with D major. The next note is A. That's actually a power chord shape. You can actually do a power chord like that. That's D and A. D. So some of my students think it's funny because dad shows up sometimes on the guitar. And then F sharp on top. So there's a D major chord. So if you've been playing guitar for a little while, if you imagine playing D major chord, it's like that triangle shape. So the next thing we're going to do is write the scale tones over the top. So a major chord is defined as 1, 3, 5. And I think of a good color to go over the top of this with. We'll do it with this orange. So a major chord is 1, 3, 5. That's the definition for music theory. So D is the 1, or the root note. So I'm going to write over that D with the root note. And I'll replace this other D because this is also a root note. So one thing that gets a little confusing is when people do chord construction, they build chords, a lot of times they talk about the root as the lowest note, but really either of those Ds would be the root note of a D chord. And then I'll use another color. So the 3 is the F sharp. So this F sharp is the 3, which is making it major. So you have to have 1, 3, 5 to make it major, but the 3 in particular is important to make it major. You'll see why in a second. And then the A is the 5. So that's why I said D and A makes a power chord, because a power chord is the 1 and the 5. Maybe I should write that in here too, D5. And the definition of a power chord is just 1, 5. So it's actually the simplest type of chord. Because the 1, 5, they almost sound the same. So that's what a power chord is over there. So there's the power chord, the 1 and the 5. So there's a major chord. So the power of music theory is to start to see patterns. So to get a minor chord, what you want to do is flat the 3. So you hear musicians talk about that, flat the 3. So what that means is you take the 3, so now you can see where the 3 is, it was F sharp. We're trying to go from D to D minor. So to do that, we have to flat the 3. And the definition is going to be 1 flat 3, 5, with the 1 and the 5 staying the same. So the flat 3 is going to be just to the left. And there it is right there, and that note is F. I should have written F in there, but I'll just say it. To the left is F. So there's a D minor chord. with 1, 5, 1, flat 3. Then the next chord, the Sus2, what you do is you, let me get another color. A Sus2 chord, the definition is 1, 2, 5. So it's actually, sometimes musicians will say it's not major and it's not minor, because what they're saying is what really makes a major chord major is this, the 3. In comparison with the minor chord, or the flat 3, is what's unique about it, because the 1, 5 would stay the same between D and D minor. So the Sus2 is not major or minor because it doesn't have the 3 or the flat 3. You can also like use a Sus2 chord from a major chord or from a minor chord, because usually a Sus2 chord or Sus4 you kind of toggle from a major or a minor chord. So the 2 is always just to the left of the flat 3. It's actually an open string here, which would be E. The point of this lesson isn't to talk about the notes so much, just to show these scale tones. Because scale tones is really where the music theory starts to happen. So there's the 2. So that would be a D Sus2 chord if you added that open string. So imagine taking your D major chord, strumming it, and flatting the 3, and then strumming the D minor, and then lifting up the flat 3 to play the open string, and that would be D Sus2. Then the last chord, it's not really a trick. If the 3 is right there, the 4 is just to the right. So D Sus4, the definition is 1, 4, 5. So 1, 4, 5, and the 4 is what's really giving it its character. Just like the 2 is giving the Sus2 its character, the flat 3 for the D minor its character, and the 3 for the major. So you have to have all 3 of those notes to really make the chord. But the middle note, the 3, flat 3, 2, and 4 are what make these really unique. So there's the 4. So imagine you're holding down a D major chord, and then you add your pinky right there. That note is G. That would be a Sus4. So this covers all those 4 types of chords, and then again the power chord was this little simple guy right there, the 1 and the 5. So that wraps up this lesson.